They say this is the hottest place on earth. But after being here, I must say that this is indeed the most colorful place on planet Earth. But why your background is so colorful?
This is colorful because of the geothermal activity from underneath, as there is full of minerals underneath, like few meter underneath. There is sulfur, potassium, magnesium, iron, salt, and other minerals. So because of the geothermal activity, when these all minerals are reacting each other, we can see boiling and bubbling. And normally water get boil at 100 degrees Celsius, right?
Africa is not just a continent, it is a contradiction of extremes. A land where life thrives and where life should not exist at all. And somewhere deep inside the Horn of Africa lies a place so extreme, so hostile, so unreal that scientists call it one of the hottest and most unlivable places on planet Earth. But for African travelers and explorers like Wode Maya, it is not just a place of death, it is a place of discovery, a place of shock, a place that reveals something the world rarely talks about. Africa is sitting on unimaginable wealth beneath its most dangerous landscapes. And today, we enter it. We enter the salt, the sulfur, the boiling ground. We enter the Danakil Depression. What is this place? In northeastern Ethiopia lies a land so low, so hot, so harsh, that even the wind feels like fire. This is the Danakil Depression, a geological wound on Earth's surface, a place where temperatures can rise above 50 degrees Celsius and sometimes feel even worse under the burning sun, a place where the ground is not just earth, but salt, acid, lava rock, and mineral poison, and yet people still live nearby, still trade, still survive, still adapt. When Wode Maya arrives here, the reaction is immediate. The heat is not normal. It is not summer. It is not like the desert. It feels alive. The air burns the skin. The ground reflects heat back into your body. And every step feels like walking on a planet that is still forming. He looks round and asks the question many viewers should ask. Is this really the hottest place on earth? The answer comes calmly. Yes, this is it. But something strange happens, because this place does not look like dirt. It looks like art. Bright yellows, deep reds, and neon greens, rusty oranges. White salt feels stretching like frozen oceans.
Africa is the land of wonders. Africa can be extremely hot. I mean, some of the world's most hottest places on earth are right here in Africa. Where are we going now?
We're going to the colorful, to the sulfur, iron, potassium oxidized area.
This is the place that is known to be the hottest place on
The
the
hottest place, yes.
on planet.
And planet, yes.
They say this is the hottest place on earth. But after being here, I must say that this is indeed the most colorful place on planet Earth.
Wode Maya himself is surprised. This is not what danger is supposed to look like. It is beautiful, almost too beautiful. And then the explanation comes. The ground is not ordinary. It is alive from beneath. Below this burning land lies constant geothermal activities, molten energy pushing upward from deep within the earth. And as it rises, it brings minerals with it: sulfur, iron, potassium, magnesium, salt, acid gases. Everything mixes together like a chemical storm. And when these minerals react with heat, the ground begins to boil, bubble, and transforms color. It is not paint, it is not imagination, it is chemistry happening in real time. And in some areas, the temperature of the ground is so extreme that water doesn't just boil at 100 degrees Celsius, it goes beyond it. As Wode Maya learns from gods, even the earth itself feels unstable here.
But why your background is so colorful?
This is colorful because of the geothermal activity from underneath, as there is full of minerals underneath, like a few meters underneath. There is sulfur, potassium, magnesium, iron, salt, and other minerals. So because of the geothermal activity, when these all minerals are reacting each other, we can see boiling and bubbling. And normally water get boiled at 100 degrees Celsius, right? But that one is more than 100 degrees Celsius. So it's a full of minerals because of the geothermal activity coming out from underneath.
Why it is so extreme, the Danakil Depression sits in a geological rift zone. That means the Earth's crust is literally pulling apart, slowly, constantly, and as it stretches, magma rises closer to the surface than almost anywhere else on Earth. That is why volcanoes are active nearby, acid pools exist, salt flats stretch endlessly, and heat becomes unbearable. It is not just a hot place, it is a place where Earth is breaking open. But here is where the story becomes even more shocking. Despite the danger, people live here. The Afar people have survived this land for generations. They do not run from it, they use it. One of the oldest traditions here is salt mining. Workers carve massive salt blocks from the ground, cut them into slabs, and transport them across the deserts using camels. Yes, camels, they move through one of the harshest environments on Earth, carrying what was once ancient sea salt. This is not just survival, this is adaptation at the highest level. Why anyone will live here? The obvious questions arises. Why would anyone live in a place like this? The answer is simple, because it still gives something valuable. The land may be harsh, but it is rich. Beneath the suffering, there is wealth, salt, minerals, sulfur deposit, potash, geothermal energy potential. In a world chasing resources, even dead zones become valuable. As Wode Maya moves deeper, the environment changes again. Now it is no longer just salt and heat. It becomes acid landscape, pools of neon-colored liquid, steam rising from cracks in the ground, fumes that sting the eyes. The land feels alien, like Mars on Earth. Some scientists even use the Danakil Depression to simulate other planets, because if life can survive here, it can survive almost anywhere. For the Maya, this is not just travel, it is endurance. Every step tests the body. Dehydration becomes a constant threat. Breathing feels heavier. Even camera struggles in the heat. And yet he continues, because this mission is bigger than comfort. It is about showing the world Africa in a way most people never see. Not just cities, not just safaris, but extremes, real extremes. The Danakil Depression reveals something deeper. Africa is often described in a narrow terms, but landscapes like this destroy those limits, because here is what it proves. Africa is not one thing, it is everything. It is life, it is death, it is beauty, it is danger, it is resources, it is science, it is the future, and it is ancient Earth still forming itself. When Wode Maya walks through this land, the message becomes clear. Africa is not empty. Africa is not waiting to be discovered. Africa is already discovered. And places like the Danakil Depression are proof. Because while the world looks elsewhere for extreme environments, one of the most extreme places on Earth has always been here, hidden in a plain sight. What lies under Africa? And then comes the deepest question. If this much power is visible on the surface, what lies beneath Africa's ground? Geologists believe the region holds massive mineral reserves, untapped geothermal energy, rare earth elements, salt basins formed over millions of years, and volcanic system still evolving. This is not just land, it is a vault, a natural powerhouse waiting for understanding. As the journey slows down, there is silence, not because there is nothing to say, but because the environment speaks louder than words. the cracking salt, the bubbling ground, the wind carrying heat instead of cooling it. And in that silence, the message becomes clear. This is not a place to conquer. It is a place to respect. The Danakil Depression is not just the hottest place on Earth. It is a reminder that Earth is still alive, still changing, still powerful. And Africa sits at the center of some of its most extreme expressions. Thanks to explorers like Wode Maya, the world is beginning to see what has always been there. Not just heat, not just danger, but wonder. Raw, unfiltered wonder. If this journey shocked you, then you are just scratching the surface of Africa's hidden realities, because this continent is not finished telling its story, and every corner still holds something the world refuses to believe until it sees it. Subscribe for more untold African stories, because Africa is not the past, Africa is the present, and Africa is the future. This is First Africa Voice, where we speak for Africa, think for Africa, and change the narrative of the continent. Kindly support us by subscribing, because your support helps us to continue to bring to you powerful stories about Africa, its people, and its future. This has been Paul Lingual.